Good day, everybody. I'm John Russell, owner of the Business Source LLC. I'm here with my partner, Jared Whitman from Whitman Media, and Lucas behind the lights. And we are doing a podcast on each chapter of my book, Be a Stand-Up Leader, the ABCs of Getting the Job Done Right. This has been an exciting project for me. I've been working on it for a while, where I'm sharing a lot of insider information, tips and tricks and knowledge that I've gained over 3 decades. And there's a lot to cover. So with each chapter, we're sharing with you the nuts and bolts of what's in the book. If you still want to buy the book, you can buy it on Amazon. But this chapter is about numbers, Jared. And I'm not an accountant. And as a matter of fact, I flunked math in high school. The worst was geometry. Maybe it was because I wasn't very well focused.
Yeah.
And maybe it was because I went to a Catholic grade school.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing against Catholic grade schools. But let me tell you what, they don't set you up for math at the high school level.
Did you have nuns?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They were from El Salvador.
Yeah.
And they spoke Spanish. So how does that work?
I don't know.
So anyways, not to sidestep the whole Catholic school experience, but I'm gonna. Today we're talking about numbers. And numbers are really, really important when you become a stand-up leader, either as an employee or as a business owner. I was just telling Jared that my experience with numbers has been wide and varied. I was taught and told early on in my business career, when I started my own company, that I needed a bookkeeper and I needed an accountant. And the people that were mentoring and coaching me, it was an unequivocal request. It wasn't a suggestion.
Right.
So I went out and got a bookkeeper. First one stuck with me for a while till I was gone too much and not helping. So she fired me. Good move on her part. We're still great friends. And she was tremendous. But then I got another bookkeeper, and before I hired her, I made sure she understood that I'm going to be on the go a lot. I'm not the easiest guy to catch up with sometimes. And in fact, it was going to be difficult to handle me as a client.
Yeah.
Because my business handling, advertising, and marketing has many different facets from an accounting and bookkeeping standpoint. But when I've worked with business owners and stand-up leaders across the years, a lot of times they come up with fantastic ideas and then they run it by the accountant and it gets shot down.
Right.
Because an entrepreneur's ideas on the front end don't always add up. When you started your business, Jared, did you have a firm grip on the numbers?
I'm unique. I had an idea.
You had an idea.
I had an idea.
But you'd never done it before.
I concepted it and thought about it a lot.
Right.
So it wasn't a solidified numbers, but I shared my vision with some people and it made sense to them and whatnot. So
you're still growing and you don't have a bookkeeper and accountant yet. You do it all yourself.
Yeah.
You do your own bookkeeping. You do your own taxes. There will come a point where you'll cross over and you'll need that professional help.
Yeah.
So what I learned was that when a business owner has an idea and he runs it by the accountant, 9 times out of 10, it gets shot down.
That makes sense.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that it would be shut down. An accountant is such an analytical.
Exactly.
Right. They're thinking with the ones.
They're warning you not to make a mistake.
Yeah. They're always looking at the numbers.
Right. It might not add up.
Yeah.
You're going down a pathway you could lose your shorts.
Right. Yeah.
So my point is yes, the accountant is the fail-safe, maybe, or the checks and balances part. But don't let that stop you from rolling out a good idea.
Right.
Maybe you need to look more closely at the numbers to figure out how you're going to accomplish your idea without taken a negative financial position.
Right. Or breaking it down into certain tiers or segments, like, hey, we're going to focus on this. It's going to cost this amount of money, instead of looking at basically what you just said, the entire thing, and it's going to take over all this money.
Yeah. Accountants are right-brained analytical thinkers. A lot of stand-up leaders and entrepreneurs are left-brain creative thinkers.
Yeah.
And so that's where the dichotomy lies. So you should use their advice and take it into consideration as a recommendation, but don't let it be the end all in terms of stopping you from what you want to try to accomplish.
Right.
So questions that you should ask your accountant are, what records should I be keeping? How should I structure my business? What are my tax obligations and opportunities? And how often should we meet throughout the year to track my revenue and tax position?
That's a good question.
Because it can change.
Right.
And I was sharing with you earlier, I had a situation where one year, my accountant lays out my quarterly tax payments pretty easily, but they're based on last year's revenue. So I had a banner year one year, and my revenue was off the charts, and I got a huge tax bill.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I have a policy of meeting with my accountant mid-year to talk about where are we tracking year to date and how is the projection looking for the rest of the year. So if we need to make any adjustments into our quarterly tax payments, we can do it at the midway point so you don't get hit with a big tax bill at the end of the year.
Yep.
It costs a couple bucks, but I'll tell you what, it saves a lot of problems. Because if you wait till the end of the year before you talk to your tax advisor and the numbers have been off for 12 months, you're going to be potentially having some difficulty.
Right.
So accountants oftentimes shoot down good ideas because their conservative viewpoints are averse to risk. I'm risk averse. I don't want to spend money on anything that I think is going to be sketchy, skeptical, or not deliver. Because I live in the world of performance-based advertising, performance-based marketing. The investments that we make have to hit. I realize there's a little risk involved and not every ad leads to an ROI. But if your strategy isn't built on solid logic and sound strategies, you're potentially throwing money away.
Right.
I'm not interested in that.
Yep.
So take your accountant's advice on how the numbers impact your decision making, but don't make your decisions solely on your accountant's recommendations. That's numbers for me. And as a business owner, you're probably already well versed in understanding that. But if you're starting out and you're just getting your business set up, make sure that you have good, sound financial advice.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add to that?
No.
Pretty simple stuff.
Easy.
Get with your accountant, get with your bookkeeper, unless you can handle it on your own, and then keep track of it so you don't get hit with a big tax bill. Thanks for being with us today. Look forward to seeing you on our next edition.